That's what we got. Now we can we can go ahead and start. Welcome to the 2020 January monthly safety meeting. All right, Alan, can you read that screen for me?
Our vision, we will deliver the best customer experience with industry-leading safety, reliability, and innovation. What does it mean to you? What part do we play in achieving this vision?
All right, Patrick, what do you think?
We provide safety and customer service.
Good. All right, Mark.
During today's meeting, we will be covering left turns, pedestrians, and winter driving. We will also be discussing slips, trips, and falls.
Second part.
We will refresh ourselves around the fundamentals of recognizing how to make safe left turns, knowing what to do around pedestrians, utilizing proper techniques for winter driving, avoiding and prevent slips, trips, and falls.
So the main menu, fleet safety, will cover part one, left turn and pedestrian. Then part two, we'll talk about winter driving. Injury prevention, part three will be slip, trips, and falls. And of course, we have drive cam review, video 1 and 2. On the last part, we'll talk about COVID-19. So get on with this video.
In 2012, over 4,700 pedestrians were killed and another 75,000 were injured by motor vehicles in the U.S. Approximately 2,000 of these fatalities happened at a crosswalk is available. There are several contributing factors to these deaths, but inattention on the part of the pedestrian or the driver is one of the main causes. As a transit or paratransit operator, a crucial element of your job is expecting the unexpected and defending against the errors of others. This is especially important when operating large vehicles around vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians and bicyclists, who may be oblivious to their surroundings or think the painted lines and lights of a crosswalk offer enough protection from injury or worse while crossing traffic. Your training, experience, attention to detail, and professionalism are the only things between your vehicle and potential tragedy. To help reduce the risk of bus to pedestrian contact, one of the best driving habits you can use is to square your turns. You've heard the safety and training staff within your organization preach for years to square your turns at intersections, especially while making a left turn. But what exactly does that mean to you? And what are the safety advantages of squaring your turn as opposed to a shortened or sweeping turn? Take a minute, we'll explain, try to answer this question. Let's start by taking another look at the actions of our operator. Notice how the operator appears to have a fixed stare and isn't rocking and rolling in the seat? Keeping your head and eyes moving is a fundamental of safe vehicle operation. When negotiating a turn, it's even more important to be aware of your surroundings and do your best to eliminate blind spots. By rocking back and forth, left and right in the seat, you will be better able to see what may be obstructed by roof pillars, mirror housings, sun visors, and navigation devices. A pedestrian, bicyclist, or person using a wheelchair can easily be hidden from your view behind these items, or may be distracted by the 3 H's: handheld devices, hoodies, and headphones. Remember, keep your head and eyes moving and check your mirrors often to be aware of everything going on around your vehicle. Our operator does not have a safe grip on the steering wheel. Obviously, the steering wheel is the main controlling device for your vehicle. It is not a place to simply rest your hands. You must always have both hands on the steering wheel while the vehicle is in motion and never use the spokes of the wheel for turning. Employ the push-pull or hand-over-hand steering methods depending on the situation. The positive control of the vehicle is literally in your hands. The operator is taking the most direct route from the starting to end point in the intersection. This is called a sweeping turn. The operator is looking at the point of the intersection where she wants to end up and not at the bigger picture around her. Although the brakes may be covered, the operator is taking an angle that reduces a wider view of the intersection. In this position, the operator has to look over her left shoulder to see if a pedestrian has entered the intersection from the far curb side, further making this maneuver unsafe by taking her eyes off the direction the vehicle is traveling. Also, note how close the bus will come to the opposing vehicle stop at the light or the stop sign. What if those vehicles weren't stopped behind the stop line in their lane? The chances of a vehicle collision are increased, not to mention the pedestrian who could be in the crosswalk. Up to the moment of contact with the pedestrian, our operator did not decrease speed and in fact accelerated to maintain momentum. By taking a more direct route to the far side of the intersection, there is less chance the operator will be prepared to stop the vehicle. The sweeping turn generally requires the operator to accelerate, naturally meaning a longer stopping distance once the danger is recognized. The fact is, our operator is only saving about 3 seconds by cutting the turn short, and the maneuver exhibits an aggressive and forceful visual to the public. As seen from above, the starting point is represented by A and the end point C. We just saw our operator make the turn in a sweeping movement, represented by the red dotted line. We now realize that this driving habit can be deadly. Now let's see what it looks like when our driver squares the turn at an intersection and practices safer driving techniques. This is represented by the green dotted line, A to B to C. Sounds simple enough, but how do you square the turn, and why is this a safer maneuver? Our operator is rocking and rolling, keeping her head and eyes moving. Notice the body and eye movements of our operator, getting the big picture by eliminating blind spots caused by interior obstruction. She's also glancing at the mirrors. Note the positive control of the steering wheel and the use of both hands. She knows her vehicle will only perform as well as she operates it and does not have a casual grip on the wheel. Remember, 2 + 2 = safety. 2 hands on the wheel and 2 eyes on the road at all times. In addition to being aware of her surroundings and controlling the direction of the vehicle, our operator slows to a coast and covers the brake pedal in anticipation of stopping if a hazard is detected. The vehicle should only be traveling at 3 to 5 miles per hour, and there's no reason to accelerate through the intersection by entering on a green light and making sure the road was clear for the turn. Keeping her upper body and eyes moving, the operator has a clear view of what's in front of and around the vehicle. She keeps the bus parallel with the crosswalk she will be turning into, staying as far outside the intersection as possible. The pivot point, indicated by the yellow line, is the point where the operator's shoulders are even with the center lane divider. This should be your reference spot that tells you when to start the turn. Without accelerating more than necessary, the operator then turns the vehicle sharply left, following a 90-degree angle until the bus is fully facing the crosswalk. Our operator now has the clearest, widest view of the intersection possible and of any pedestrians that may be crossing from either curb. Now that the unit is squared, while continuing to rock and roll, only slight acceleration is needed to complete the turn. She can see the crosswalk is clear and can proceed safely through the intersection. Let's look at the turn once again in real time. Head and eyes moving. Positive control of the steering wheel. Enter intersection on a green light. Keep vehicle parallel to the crosswalk. Turn once you reach the pivot point. Slight acceleration to maintain momentum. It's that simple. Square your turns at every intersection. Whether you're deadheading back to the yard, you have a standing room capacity load, or in your private vehicle. Always, always square your turns for safety. Thank you from the entire Capital Metro family, where we are serious about safety.
So Nance, number
Yes.
1, at what speed should you be making your turn?
3 to 5 on left-hand turns, 1 to 3 on right-hand turns.
Okay. Why is that?
1 to 3 on right-hand turns is because you usually have more pedestrians and bicyclists and anything could approach at any second. So it gives you enough time to stop. Hopefully it'll give you enough time to stop without doing injury to anybody.
Okay, so that's one part. What's the second part? We take that turn slow. Alan?
Make smart turns to the thing so that you're in the lane, you don't cut anybody off.
Yeah.
And what's the other reason, Mark?
The other reason,
Yeah, why do we take that very slow turn?
in case we have a wheelchair on our bus, we don't want to
Very
tip them
good.
over.
Thank you. Thank you.
Watch it on the
That's a good one.
Mhm.
Of course, you don't jostle your client too.
But then it's
Number
also,
four.
if you're doing a square turn too, it helps so your bus don't tilt.
Well, yes, that's why you take that slow
Okay,
steady
so
turn.
here's the thing though I noticed doing square turns here in Washington. I'm making a turn, squaring my turn, but also coming the other way is a turning the opposite way And if I sometimes have to almost come to a stop to let a bigger truck who's coming out also to make a square turn. So, I mean, both of us are coming way out in our lane to make that square, and we have to be aware of our surroundings because the other people may be trying to do a square turn also.
Try to sneak up right
I mean,
Okay.
they're coming straight at you and you're going straight at them. So if you're trying to do a square turn and they're coming out further also, then you have potential of,
potentially hitting them.
Right.
So, all right, number 2. What does it mean, rock and roll your turn, Blanche?
You're gonna be moving your head and eyes back and forth. You got 2 hands on your wheels and you're rocking back and forth, checking your mirrors, what's in front of you, left and right.
When you're doing a rock and roll, when you're doing the rock and roll, what direction are you looking?
Left, right, left.
Good. And you rock and roll palm, the hip. Okay.
Why does it help, rocking and roll, it also helps you see your blind spots.
And that's what Blanche mentioned.
Okay.
Yes. Number 3. All right, Patrick, what is the benefit of the square your turn technique?
Gives you a better view of the intersection to make sure that there's no no pedestrians in the crosswalk. Also, to eliminate any collision with a person doing a left-hand turn, which the lane you're turning into.
Good job. Okay. All right, number 4. What do you do when you encounter a pedestrian or bicyclist? That's Joe. Number 4, can you answer that for me? What do you do when you encounter a pedestrian or bicyclist?
Just slow down,
Okay.
give them room to go on.
Okay. Slow down. Give them
The right
room to go around.
The best thing is though, make eye contact.
Thank you. That's one. But they're all good answers. But also, how do you get your pedestrian and bicyclist attention?
On your
Tap the
horn.
The horn.
Tap
Good.
the horn.
Also, always like Blanche said, communicate. Blanche said, make eye contact, and also understand the impact of adverse weather on pedestrians' behavior. You know, we're coming into the winter time, and sometimes, pedestrian does not always think about the weather. They don't think that sometimes in the morning it's icy, it's cold, it's wet.
They're just worried about their phone.
They're just worried about, they're busy on their everyday life. So just watch out for them. All right, now we're gonna cover part 2 of winter driving.
Welcome to the winter driving video. Winter brings on adverse weather and drastic changes to driving conditions. As a professional driver, you'll need to be able to adjust your driving performance to accommodate winter weather driving conditions. Because of this, you need to double down on your defensive driving habits and pay extra attention to high hazard situations. To prepare yourself to operate in the cold and possible ice or snow, you'll need to make sure you get plenty of rest when you're off to help prepare yourself both physically and mentally. As the professional operator, you must be rested, alert, and ready to work. Make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get to work and know your alternate routes in case the weather keeps you from traveling your normal routes. A proper pre-chip is crucial when it's cold because the colder temperatures can affect your vehicle differently in the winter than in the summertime. Give a thorough check of your vehicle, paying close attention to things like your windshield wipers and lighting. Make sure all your heating equipment is working properly and anticipate a plan for what to do if you get stuck or break down. Pay close attention to tire condition. Tire pressure will drop with colder weather, so make sure it's good and you have plenty of tread on all tires, and make sure your tread is not below the wear bars. Tread depth should be even from sidewall to sidewall. 4/32 of an inch on front on the steering axle and 2/32 inch on all others, including the rear axle. Snow and ice is the obvious danger when driving, but you need to also look out for black ice that forms when rain or snow falls. Whenever the temperature climbs above freezing, some will melt. When the temperature freezes again, ice will form, creating a thin layer of ice that is hard to see or may just look wet, but is definitely there and very slick. Freezing rain can also cause a hazard, hitting the ground and quickly creating a layer of ice. Starting and stopping on ice or snow can also be slick. When stopped, the tires on your vehicle may be warm and will melt the ice or snow, adding water to an already slick surface, so make sure you adjust your driving accordingly. Even the gradual crown of the road can cause your bus to lose traction, most likely when stopping at bus stops. Stopping on an incline can cause you to lose traction and slide back or forward, depending on which way you're facing on the incline. Rain can reduce traction up to 55%, and depending on how much rain there is, you could get flooding. Follow these tips to mitigate the hazard of driving in the rain. Slow down by at least 25%. Increase following distance to at least 6 seconds. Slow down, especially when approaching bus stops, so you don't splash the customers. Look out for areas prone to flooding and avoid driving through deep water. Use defrosters to keep your windshield clean. Be ready for road spray when passing or following other vehicles. Check wiper blades for sign of wear during your pre-chip inspection. Check tires for proper tread and air pressure. Improperly inflated tires could cause skids. Increase your following distance by 2 or 3 seconds. Avoid hard braking to prevent skids. Watch for stalled vehicles. Look for customers who might be waiting in a sheltered area who will run out to catch the bus. Do not drive through deep water. If you're unsure of the depth of the water, do not go through the water. Observe other vehicles going through the water to help determine its depth. Snow reduces traction up to 75%. Here are some of the ways driving conditions can be affected by snow and what you can do. Reduce your speed by 50%. Increase following distance to 7 seconds, greater on the highways. Use windshield wipers to defrost to keep windows and mirrors clear. Turn on your headlights. Start slowly. Release the accelerator if the wheels begin to spin. Start braking much sooner than normal conditions. Let up on the brakes and reapply if wheels lock up and the bus starts to skid. If you start to skid, gently turn the wheel into the skid and ease off the accelerator and brakes. Ice and sleet also requires extra attention and is the most dangerous weather condition to drive in. Your traction is reduced by 85%. If you start to skid, gently turn the wheel into the skid. Ease off the accelerator and brakes. Increase following distance to 8 seconds, greater when on the highway. You also need to think about how other drivers are reacting to winter conditions. They may not be as cautious as you are and could be driving carelessly in slick conditions. You will need to be constantly alert and thoroughly scanning your environment. Be ready to react and expect the unexpected. There also may be snow removal equipment you may encounter and have to look out for. Just remember to reduce your speed and slow down early and gradually. Watch out for bridges and overpasses and shaded areas where ice appears first because of the colder temperature in those areas. The snow and ice will also obscure lane striping and make it hard to see the edges of the roadway. Next, and very important, are your passengers and their safety. Winter adds additional hazards such as thick winter clothing that hinders movement and head and ear coverings that, although keep passengers warm, can limit sight and hearing effectiveness. This could come into play when they need to see a winter hazard or possibly hear a warning from you about an ice condition as they step off or on the bus. Pedestrians will also become distracted with the cold weather, trying to stay warm and dry, and may not be paying attention to their surroundings. They can be covering their faces and huddling under umbrellas as they cross intersections or get close to areas where vehicles are moving around. This could be very dangerous in slick, adverse weather conditions. It's your job to make sure you give the passengers plenty of space to safely get on and off the bus and avoid any potential slip and fall hazard. You should be looking ahead at each stop to anticipate the ground condition where passengers will be entering and exiting the vehicle. You may have to stop outside of your normal stopping zones to ensure safe entering and exit of the vehicle, and the doors and ramps can safely be operated. Always make sure you keep all walking surfaces clear of ice and snow. Keep in mind these important fundamentals and remember to practice safe driving habits during winter driving. This will keep you, your passengers, and everyone else on the road safe so you can provide excellent customer service.
Because if you don't.
So why is it important to have proper tire pressure in winter weather condition?
Because if you don't have it, it could increase your ability to skid.
Okay. That's maintaining traction.
Yeah, helps
Positive traction.
yeah, it helps control.
And what else? Blanche?
You want to have proper tread, positive traction.
And also it prevents damage or tire failure or blowout. Okay.
It helps you control your vehicle better.
Okay, number two, what type of hazard come with winter driving?
Sliding,
Sliding,
Wet, slippery roads.
wet slippery roads,
ice,
ice,
Black ice,
black ice, go, good. And
flooding,
flooding, so let's talk about black ice. On ice and sleet, what's your following distance on ice and sleet, Adani? 7? That's in the snow.
No, ice, 8.
8 or more. 8 or more. Okay. While we're on the topic of black ice, it's a hazard for drivers. During the winters, one hazard to be mindful of when behind the wheel, black ice, which can be almost invisible. Forms when the air temperature is warmer than the pavement, which causes moisture to rapidly freeze and create a thin, transparent layer of ice on the road. To help avoid an incident, the Minnesota Department of Transportation and Public Safety recommend observing the following tips. Keep your distance. The distance needed to stop on black ice is twice as long as for a normal driving circumstance. Keep at least a 5-second following distance behind the vehicle in front of you. Never brake while driving on ice. Apply pressure to your brake while on black ice will cause a vehicle to skid. Okay? Brake only during your approach. Be especially careful when driving on bridges, overpass and tunnel, and it's the early morning when the air temperature rises faster than a pavement temperature. Salting and sanding can neutralize black ice. However, drivers should be aware that salt loses its effectiveness at above 15 degrees or colder. We all travel everywhere. A lot of you guys have been driving for more than 5-10 years. And you guys know adverse weather. You guys drove, we're open 365 days in the year, almost 24 hours. And some of you guys come in very early in the morning. And you know what to expect when you come in. And as a professional driver, you already know yourself what to expect. We got to make sure when you walk into the property, you got to take a nice, slow step, okay? Does anybody carry a flashlight during the morning? Okay. Sometimes, you know, some people work at 3:45, starts around 3:45, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and so on. So please, if you know that the ground is not salted, it's slippery, let us know so we can get maintenance to go out there and lay down salt right away, okay? Especially in the yard. There is part of the yard that gets flooded, okay? Now, when that thing gets flooded and it gets really cold, what happened?
Go freeze that bus there.
Not only that,
It'll turn into an
the-
ice rink.
the water turns to ice, okay? So please, don't put yourself in harm's way. Get somebody, get the maintenance. Get the maintenance, go out there and probably move the bus. Get your supervisor, help you out, okay?
I gotta say, that cold snap we had a few weeks back, they did really well. I came in at 4 o'clock and everything was salted down.
Good,
It was
good.
awesome.
that's good. And you know what? And we are all called internal. That's internal customer service. You know, everybody, the internal customer is the maintenance, and for them to make sure every driver is safe, that's what they gotta do every morning, okay? All right, we're gonna go to injury prevention, part 3, slip, trips, and fall.
Slips, trips, and falls are no laughing matter. In fact, they're one of the leading causes of injury on the job, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Fortunately, by using a few common sense strategies, you can greatly reduce the number of slips, trips, and falls at your company. That helps limit workplace injuries and minimize lost workdays. The first thing to do is investigate every slip, trip, and fall, no matter how minor it seems. Your investigation can reveal dangers that could result in a major incident next time. The investigation should focus on where incidents typically occur. These include doorways, ramps, cluttered hallways, places with heavy traffic or uneven surfaces, and areas where wetness or spills are common. In addition to investigating all incidents, be sure to have the right type of floor covering in place. There are a number of things to consider. These include
what kind of spills might occur, the kind of equipment that we have, and the fluids that may be around that equipment. But we also have to think about sanitary conditions, and even noise might be a concern because if it's too noisy, then employees cannot hear warnings. Another consideration would be areas with heavy foot traffic.
You might also want to consider slip-resistant mats for extra protection where spills are likely. Some mats even help guide water, grease, and other fluids away from the walking surface. The third strategy is to outfit employees with slip-resistant footwear, especially if they work where surfaces are wet or greasy. Employees who need to move rapidly from one type of floor to another would also find slip-resistant footwear helpful. The fourth strategy is to train employees how to deal with spills and cluttered walkways. Make sure employees are aware that they should keep aisles clear and floors clean, and have managers post signs to warn people about slippery areas. Managers should also remind employees, if you drop it, pick it up. If you spill it, wipe it up. And go where you are looking and look where you are going. Not every slip, trip, or fall is the result of a wet or cluttered floor. Sometimes poor lighting is the cause, or it may be how an employee acts. You can minimize these types of falls by making sure there's adequate light and showing people how to change their behavior.
Some tips that we may offer to help employees change their behavior would be to use your feet as a probe. Keep your head up when walking so that you can maintain your natural center of gravity. But also you have to be aware of your surroundings. Always know when things are changing so that you can react appropriately. If you do find yourself falling, be very conscious of what you're doing to help stop that fall.
It's also good to advise employees against carrying items that block their view. Use these 4 strategies to reduce slips, trips, and falls at your company. It's good for your employees, and it's good for your business.
Walk slowly.
What should you do if you have a wet walking surface on your bus?
Walk slowly.
Walk slowly.
Clean it up.
Clean it up. What else?
Use your handrails.
Use your handrail, 3-point contact. 3-point. Okay, that's a good one, 3-point contact. We all, when we step up the bus, we always let the client knows to have a 3-point contact at all times, correct?
Yeah.
And so are you. When you're going down the step of the bus, you always have to have 3-point contact at all times. Okay, that's for your safety. What are some of the areas passenger could slip, trips, or fall on the bus?
Going
Okay.
up the steps.
Steps, that's one.
Going off onto the,
Water on the walkways.
Water on the walkway, good. What about
Stepping up on the lift.
stepping up on the lift? What about the ground outside the bus? Okay. The aisleway of the bus. And of course, you know, I mean, emphasize the stairs. And we know that a lot of our clients, when when we pick them up, they don't have proper footwear.
No.
They don't. So that's where we come.
And they refuse to hold, a lot of them refuse to hold the yellow rails on the ramp.
That's correct. And they do. And in that case, you're gonna have to tell them, you know, the very important why.
I've had several discussions about that, because I hear, other bus drivers don't make me.
And if they don't do that, you know, that it comes a time they'll have an accident. And, you know, it'll be, you know, the only thing we can do about that is write it up.
I tell them I'm gonna call a supervisor,
Yeah.
you know, because I refuse to lift them if they're not holding those rails.
That's right, because you're
They
just,
fall off, it's my fault.
right, and you're also looking after their safety.
Exactly.
So, yes, and make sure, yeah, and, you know, when you get back to base, write them up.
Yep.
So that way we can get a hold of them and. make a
Always
little-
document on the MDT.
You got it. There you go. How can you make sure passengers don't fall on your bus?
pretty close to them.
Okay, so make sure you stay close to them at all time, okay?
Make sure there's proper lighting.
Proper lighting, the bus, good. What else?
You're gonna remind them to use the rails.
Good. You know, always warn the passenger of slippery condition, even outside, right? We walk people door to door, hand to hand, right? Of course, we're gonna warn them, hey, it's slippery, just take it slow,
You're gonna remind them to put the brakes on their equipment,
okay?
because they'll have a habit to yank back or grab it and they let go of the rails.
All right. And also avoid distracted driving. About avoid sudden start or stops, okay? Before departing your stop, make sure all passengers are seated, or if standing, they have 3-point contact. In our bus, they don't stand. I think they're talking about fixed route. Always be sure to have the proper following distance and give yourself plenty of time to react, stop if you need to. Also, don't forget, we have a slippery surface that we'll have to deal with as operator walking to and from our bus on the yard. Areas around the yard can also be slippery during wintry weather, so just be mindful and take your time. Walk slowly. What does it mean to use 3-point contact? Go ahead, Blanche.
You wanna have both feet on the ground and using your rails.
Okay. That's right. You gotta make sure that you're holding on the rails or anywhere that there's something to hold on to, especially when icy, and make sure you walk slowly, very slowly. Okay. Never jump. Okay. Look before entering or exiting. Do not carry anything in your hand that's too heavy. All right. We know that. How many bags do we carry? A total of what not to exceed?
10 pounds.
10 pounds each, 40 pounds total. All right. So if you have that much bag and it's slippery, you might want to take your time and carry, have yourself some balance. We never, also, the other thing that we want to emphasize, Steve, we do not drop, do we drop our lips into like grassy areas?
No.
No? Okay.
Nor ice,
More ice or
snow,
Gravel.
gravel,
Dirt.
inclines,
incline. What about if it's muddy?
no mud.
And if we know that we're picking up somebody and it has all that hazard, what do?
Call it
Call it
in.
in.
Call it in.
The heck?
And we move, maybe move the vehicle a little bit, forward to find a safe location.
Client's responsible for snow and ice removal when we drop.
And that's very important, so that way that, if we pick those clients up, they have to make sure that their driveway is clear, right?
Yeah, some of them will want you to push through that ice and snow, and we don't do that.
No, you don't, because you know what?
So you're gonna trip and fall,
That's
or
right.
you're gonna tip them over.
And yourself too.
Some people want you to push them through gravel too. Nope, don't do
No, we
it.
don't do that, so. I remember on, 148, on where that 7-Eleven is, in the corner, there's a shrine in the back. And there's a parking in the back of 7-Eleven. I remember I was a supervisor that day, and I was gonna be taking over the safety department training. I had 2 wheelchair accidents that day, 30 minutes before I had to get off work. And all of them are, one is a wheelchair tip on the gravel, and the other one is slip, trips, and fall. So look after yourself. Make sure you don't get injured. When you get injured, guess what happened? You hurt yourself, and then you got to deal with the pain. Okay.
Just because another driver does it, doesn't make it right.
That's right,
That's right.
that's right.
And you guys probably already know me for a long time. My main concern is your safety. And that's my main concern. It's every driver's safety.
And you're not gonna get yelled at if you call it in.
That's right.
I have done it several times, and I've never, ever had any repercussions.
That's why we have supervisors to give you assistance. But if you can't get a supervisor to get assistance in your location, they'll call me. I would
And
be
sometimes you have
glad.
to override those supervisors.
Right.
Yes, that's
And
right.
I've
I'd be
been in that
glad.
position.
I'd be glad to go to your location because
Call Ed, call Ed.
Hey, are we being recorded?
as long as there's a 7-Eleven in the way.
Let's get him some chicken wings and a
Starbucks.
Slurpee.
No, I like the hot dogs,
Hot dog.
Chili dogs.
the chili dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go to the drive cam review, recharge, to be in charge. Like many Americans, you might feel that you are not getting enough sleep. The CDC report that 1 out of 3 adults doesn't get enough sleep. It's also estimated that 37% of the U.S. workforce is sleep deprived. We need to properly sleep to recharge our stamina, face the day, avoid injury, and at home and at work. Getting good sleep, to be alert when well rested and at your best, follow the tips. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day. Create and follow a sleep schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on the weekend. Eliminate unnecessary light. Keep your bedroom temperature neither hot nor cold. Make sure your bed and pillows are comfortable and support restful sleep. Avoid eating right before in bed. Go to bed. Remember that bedtime is for sleeping, not reading or watching TV. Avoid using electronic device before bed, which can inhibit sleep. So, if you're tired and you have not gotten a lot of sleep, if you've gotten like 4 hours of sleep, I advise you to just call in, okay? Remember, you still gotta travel, come to work. And from any time you got travel, you can get in the accident, okay? And when we're tired, our mind is not there, okay? Especially at work. If you're feeling very tired and you're nodding off while you're driving, please pull the bus over, okay? Because you can prevent accident and injuries to yourself. All right, pull over.
It could
Call.
be a sign of something else going on with you and you don't even realize it.
Right. And you know, and if you're not up while you're driving, that's gonna be a big accident, okay? Please, call dispatch to be relieved from duty, all right? So, what should, in this video, the operator is stopping at red light to make right turn and pedestrian walks in front of the vehicle. And the operator brakes hard and set off the drive cam. So what should this operator have done differently?
Tapped his horn.
Tap your horn.
He should have waited the 3 seconds before
3
he
seconds.
even went forward to
So,
scan the
when-
intersection.
Scan the intersection. When you're scanning the intersection, what do you do?
And then,
Rock and roll.
you have to work on the road, and then when you're coming, you have to make sure you can cover brake because you're coming to the stop.
Oh, you already stopped. So you gotta make sure you rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll.
When you're rock and roll, you're looking left, right, and left. If that driver should have looked and rock and roll, he would have seen that pedestrian. And always expect the unexpected. Expect them to come in.
I don't think it was stopped.
He was stopped. He just did not see the pedestrian because every time you make a right-hand turn, where's your focus at?
Your right-hand side.
To your left.
Left.
To your
Because you're
left.
looking at that traffic, everything that's going on there. And you're not looking at the right. If you don't rock and roll and don't look left, right, left again.
Should have waited till the light was green.
And also, yes, you can wait until the light's green. That is your choice. Yes.
And he didn't wait 3 seconds.
No, he did not. So please, make sure that you're in the intersection, you see pedestrian, make eye contact at all times. Get their attention. Video number 2.
Oh.
Just give you.
That's a small vehicle, too.
That looks like the MV1 we used to have, right? Oh, you know she's upset.
We still had a few seconds.
Yeah.
You can see the numbers on the side.
All right, so number 2 in this video, the operator is making a left turn through the intersection as pedestrians attempting to cross. The operator sees a pedestrian at the last minute and brake hard to avoid collision and set off the drive cam. What should you do to clear your path prior to executing a left turn?
Scan,
Scan.
rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Communicate.
Communicate.
Talk, horn.
Okay. And also, clear that A pillar. Okay. Make sure that huh?
You mean it's square time?
Yes, the pillar. You need to clear that. We deal with pedestrian all the time, especially in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's the
And
worst.
Oh, my
Seattle
goodness.
is, sometimes they don't yield, if you have the right of way, they don't yield the right of way. So as a professional, we're always gonna expect them to come in on the road, walk right in front of you.
Yep.
So that's
Even if they, don't have the right of way, they will still walk, not look up.
yeah. So let's cover the COVID-19. Let's go on the third page on second page of COVID-19. Yeah,
The front page of this one right here.
it said COVID-19. How is it transmitted? Okay.
Okay, right here, right below
Yeah.
what we just did.
So right after the drive cam review, COVID-19 and how it's transmitted. Is COVID-19 spread from infected droplets from coughing and sneezing? True or false?
True.
Okay. Two, how can you tell if someone is infected with COVID-19?
You can't.
You can't. Is that why we practice universal precaution? Okay, so if a client comes up to you and starts sneezing, they said, I have short of breath, I feel sick, I feel a fever, coughing hard, they're having problem breathing, what do?
All this stuff.
Report it right away. Stop the bus, report it right away. So when they enter the bus, before they enter the bus, what do we do?
Make sure they have a mask on.
Got it, make sure they have a mask on. And of course, if they refuse to wear a mask, what do we do?
Call dispatch.
Call dispatch and note it to the tablet, okay? And most of the time, they refuse, and you think they're feeling sick, what do? We refuse. Okay, call your dispatch right away. So, COVID-19 review symptoms. What are some of the symptoms?
Headache.
Write it down. Headache, what else?
Fever,
Fever,
Fever, fed headache, joint pain.
coughing, dry
coughing,
cough.
Breathing.
dry cough, harder breathing, what else?
Loss of smell and taste.
Loss of smell and taste. Wow,
Fever.
so
After all this shit.
how many days does it take for a symptom to appear?
I think it's
Within
5 to 14 days,
3 to 5 days.
3 to 5 days.
Yes. Number 3, new loss of taste or smell is not a symptom of COVID-19, true or false?
False.
Okay. Now let's go to COVID-19 review and prevention. What are some of the things you can do to help stop the spread of germs?
Wash your hands.
Wash hands, wear a mask,
Wash your hand. How many seconds do you wash your hand?
20,
Okay,
15,
A lot.
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
is it
20
20?
seconds, yeah.
20 seconds to wash your hands. Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of
Did you tell
people,
about number 2? Did you tell about number
Wash
2?
hands.
number 1, prevention. What's some of the things you can do to help to stop, spread of germs? Wash your hand,
Wear a mask.
wear a mask,
Stay 6 feet apart,
stay 6 feet apart,
stay home.
stay home if you're sick. What about, so,
What is that?
what about social gathering?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
All right.
No social gathering.
Okay, so now let's cover COVID-19 review, physical distancing. What is physical distancing?
6.
6 feet.
6 feet. Why do we want to be 6 feet apart?
So that if they cough or sneeze, that the droplets are less likely to affect you.
To affect you and drop off, okay? All right, number 2, how many feet should you stand apart from the other people?
6 feet.
Good. What else can you do along with physical distance to help prevent the spread of COVID-19?
Wear a
That's
mask.
redundant.
Wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask, okay?
Use gloves, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Sanitize.
Oh, sanitize, that's right.
Wear gloves.
Wear gloves. Okay, good. COVID-19 review, hand hygiene. How many seconds should you be washing your hands with soap and water?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. What are the key times to wash your hands during your work days?
Lunch, breaks.
Breaks, lunch.
Using the restroom.
Lunch break, using the restroom.
Every time you touch a walker.
That's right. Anytime you touch a walker, a wheelchair, you got a sanitizer, right? Or every time you touch anything inside a building, or you're at home, or somewhere in a restaurant, always wash your hands, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we carry wipes, like Clorox towelettes. Make sure they're with you. Now in the back, COVID-19
This is
review.
what I do. It clips off and then I clip it on my bus piece.
And it's always on you all the time. Yes,
Even when I go to the grocery store, I've got it.
because we got
It's on my keys.
grocery card, huh? You gotta make sure that, gotta make sure you're safe. Okay, COVID-19 review, face mask and PPE. Mask helps stop the spread of COVID-19 to others, true or false?
True.
True. What areas of your face should your mask cover?
Mouth and nose.
Mouth and nose. Now the last part, COVID-19 review, quarantine. Should you quarantine after a close contact to an infected person, true or false?
Yes.
True.
If you've been tested for COVID-19 because you believe you were exposed and you are waiting for a test result, should you quarantine?
True.
True.
Number 3, if you feel ill at work, should you immediately isolate from others and send a notification to your supervisor and leave work?
Yes.
True.
Yes.
What was that?
I don't know. What was that buzzing sound, Ed?
Thank you for your undivided attention and commitment to safety.